Hello everyone, this is Jake from Fife Paranormal. Today I'm going to talk about how I got started in the paranormal field. Now, I've been doing this for about 11 years now as an in-the-field investigator, but the paranormal has always been a part of my life. On my first investigation, I was armed with a tape recorder with an extended microphone. It was actually really cool. It belonged to my dad, and he used it on his investigations many years ago. And I actually took it to one of our outbuildings where we live at here in Virginia. We have a few outbuildings, and we have one that used to be a kitchen because back in the 19th century, kitchens were often detached from the main houses in case they caught fire and for many other reasons. And I was out there and I was doing EVP sessions. And to my knowledge, I don't think I ever caught anything. No, I don't think I did. But that's where I got started. And I just started doing EVP sessions, and when I wasn't doing those, I would do research here on the computer, not this actual computer, but a computer, and I would just learn about EVP. I would learn about video, especially video editing. When I first started, I was big on debunking stuff. I just thought it was really interesting because, you could analyze frame by frame different things. You learn about the location. You learn to point out things that don't look right technically. And that was something that I wanted to be really good at when I first started in the field. So when I was about 12 years old, I got my very first voice recorder, which was just a small little Olympus voice recorder, nothing, big. But I would do so many sessions with it, just EVPs, whether it be in some of the buildings we have on our property. Even a few times I did them, in my room. It was just that practice, learning the repetition, the questions to ask, doing research on the property, and then figuring out, how can I get good, credible evidence, based off the knowledge I have and the equipment that I have. And so I was working on that. And then, how many seconds should you wait, until, since you asked a question before you ask another question. And that's stuff that, every person has their own thoughts and opinions on, but, I learned that very, very early on. And slowly, as I began to learn more as an investigator, kind of put myself more out there, like on Facebook and other social media platforms, I was in contact with other people in groups that knew a lot more than I did and had way more equipment than I did. So I would watch them and I would learn everything that they were doing. I'd be like, hey, I noticed when this person asked this question, these people tend to do this. Or, when stuff starts happening, these people tend to do that. So I was learning almost the psychology of, what happens not just on an investigation, but, when something strange happens, something unexplained happens, how do people react to that? And that was something I found very, very fascinating. And so slowly, as we started incorporating more and more equipment into our arsenal, we would take a lot of time and a lot of care to learn how each piece of equipment works. And then after we know the piece of equipment, backwards, forwards, inside, and out, we would ask ourselves, how does this fit into what we're doing already and the equipment we already have? And so we would find a way to work it in, and then we would practice. I mean, I've easily done at least, a few thousand EVP sessions, maybe a few hundred spirit box sessions. And by doing it, so many times, you start to notice a lot about yourself and also about the environment. I don't have any abilities. I'm not going to claim I have any abilities, even though I've been told I do have abilities, but I don't think I do since I can't prove I do. But, there are certain times when stuff starts happening, you do pick up on environmental changes. And, when I first started doing EVP sessions, I didn't notice those changes, because that was something, I didn't really think to look for. But now, I notice it, but it's not like, oh, I need to be sure I notice this. I need to keep an ear out or an eye out for this. No, it happens naturally because, it's become a part of my muscle memory. And, it's kind of like, playing a sport. You do something over and over and over again. You run a certain play over and over again, it becomes muscle memory. You can do it in your sleep. I'm convinced I could probably do a paranormal investigation in my sleep. But that's kind of how I started. I recognized the basics, I studied the fundamentals, and, I learned the ins and outs of everything possible about my equipment, environmental factors, and then psychological, emotional, and physical factors, because that is something a lot of people do not talk about on these investigations, but that is such a key part. So I hope you all have enjoyed this video. If you're an investigator yourself, how did you start? did you immediately buy a bunch of, spirit boxes, voice recorders, and just kind of learn from there? Or did you start kind of like I did with just one piece of equipment and then slowly expand from there? But like I said, I'm Jake from Fife Paranormal. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to comment down below, and have a great day, everyone.